Well guys, it's the 27th of July and as you can see, yet another rainy, wet, soggy day here in South Cumbria. So I'm going to be working in the man cave this morning and going to sort out these Griselle Shallots. I've featured them a few times on the videos, past clips. They were a gift from Thompson Morgan, and you can see now they've dried out really well, and so it's just a case now of cutting the tops back, which will all go as brown material in the compost pile, and then just carefully trimming the roots, and then just going to store them in trays. And what I'll do is I'll pull out the biggest and the best and hold those separately for planting out again this back end, because they did really well for me. I haven't actually tried one yet. I'm really looking forward to trying one, but in terms just of how they've grown, you know, they've grown really well. So that's my first job this morning, so I'll bring you back in a while once I've got them all cleaned up. Well, that was quite peaceful, I don't know, an hour and a half maybe. So these are the sound ones. I'll do a weigh-in after and we'll just see what sort of yield we've got. I'm just moving across the bench here. These are sort of a little bit soft, so I'm not taking a risk of storing those. We'll just use those up quite quickly, and then at least it'll give us a chance to know what they taste like. And then this little pile over here, you know, they're not fit at all. You can see they've just totally gone squidgy. So I'll bin those. I'm not going to risk composting them, even though I can't see any evidence of white rot. I just don't want to risk it, so they won't go in the compost. I'll just bin those. That's all the tops, so they will go on the compost, so it makes some useful brown material. And that's just me elephant garlic. I've sorted out the bulbils and the rounds, and as I said in the last video, they're going to be replanted late October or first week in November. Alright guys, so I've got them in a carry bag. I've just tied the two handles with a little piece of string here. I've set the scale to kilo. So let's see, I'll have to do this one-handed, so we'll see how we go on. Turn it around. It's about, what's that, 4.110, I think. 4.110 kilos. Alright. So, there was, Thompson Morgan sent me a 500 gram bag originally. So, I don't know. You guys are good at maths, I'm hopeless. But 500 grams half a kilo, so if there's 4 plus kilos, so what's that, like 8 times the original amount? I think that's right, is it? So you know, that's a good outcome. So what I'll do is I'll put those back in the trays, and this is just for anyone who has really not grown shallots before, but you'll notice that I've left quite a long neck. You don't want to cut it off down here. Leave a long neck on, because it will continue to dry, and that just reduces the chance of, you know, infection getting in. Similarly, you don't want to rub off the basal plate. Keep the roots short, but don't damage the basal plate, and then hopefully they'll store well. But I'll put them back in the trays, and then obviously periodically I'll just check them and everything. One other thing, we were in Kendal yesterday morning, and we went to there was a market on, and there was a big vegetable stall. So I bought a couple of these garlic bulbs. I just thought I'd fancy trying some at home. I've never actually grown. I grow elephant garlic, as you'll know, but standard garlic I've never grown it. So I'm going to give it a try, plant it this autumn. I've no idea what the variety is. It was 30 pence for one of those, so I thought, well, that's very reasonable. and you know, I'm not sure how many cloves inside there are, but there might be about 10 or 12, so I will plant those. It's just a question, does anybody know whether how can you tell if it's hard neck or soft neck? You know, there's some movement there. That one seems a bit firmer. So if you know how to tell, I'm not sure if you can, drop me a comment down below, guys. That'll be much appreciated. So guys, it's 10th of August, absolutely beautiful blue sky, really warm, about 25 degrees. We've got this little high pressure ridge bringing some hot air up from the continent, so we've just had a night away actually in a van, trying to make the most of it while we can. But today it's time for the Sturon onions to come out. As you can see, they're not massive, but they'll be alright. So I'm going to get those out and I'll bring you back when I have done so. Okay guys, so as you can see, there's some not bad size, and then you know they get sort of smaller, but still very usable onions. In fact, we're still using onions from last year in the freezer, so we've got plenty to go out before we'll need to use these. There was just two, like there's a little one there which I think we'll use, and then these two, the only two, judging by the feel and look of the neck, I think they bolted, but it was only two, and that's why really I moved over to growing them from seed. I found that I got far less problems with onions running to seed as opposed to growing them from sets. So the next step now, I've got a little frame over there where my compost bin is. I'll get them in there, I'll show you that in a minute. So you see I've got them in there. I've put a couple of planks, and then they're sat on this galvanised, which actually is a template for carrot tank up there. And so airs, because you can see these we've got slats in the side, if you can see that, but air can move around, and obviously if it comes on to rain I can just close the lid. I can put a piece of wood there so air can still get through, but it will keep the rain off them, so be pleased with that. I've been picking lots of figs, so I'm going to show you those next. There's one just there I need to pick. So I picked those the day before yesterday. They've been in the fridge. I've just picked those, well, 3 of them now, and this is what happens if the birds get to them first. The blackbirds just go crazy for them. They'll do everything, they'll destroy the whole lot if they get them. So I think the running tally so far is we've had about 2 trays of 8 or 9, so what's about 36 or 40 so far. The birds have had about 6 or 7, and then there's still about 10 left on, so that's pretty good. So those are going to go back in the fridge. I actually go up to my mate's field, he'll sell them straight away. As soon as people see them, they buy them, they go wild for them. So yeah, pretty pleased with the fig harvest, but I'm going to cook that fig tree quite hard back. It's got too tall, so it needs to come back in when it's in dormancy. The other thing I wanted to show you is the tomatoes. These are the Crimson Crush. Beautiful, beautiful tomatoes. And these are the Rapunzel. Again, lovely cherry tomato, lots of flavour. So what I'm going to be doing is I've already done a couple of batches of I've roasted them in the air fryer actually, with olive oil, balsamic and herbs, and then once they're cool we put them in a freezer safe tub and then just put them in the freezer, and so we can have a little bit of sunshine in those dark winter days. I'm kind of tempted to make some tomato soup, but these will work equally well as sort of cherry roasted tomatoes, so not sure yet, but yeah, that's what I do with those. So we're at the front of the house. That's our magnolia. Again, I think we're going to have to prune that back. It's getting pretty big, casting a lot of shade. But coming down just here at the front, so because this is north facing, so it doesn't get as much intense sun. These are the pink cuttings I took a while ago, and they all look pretty good actually. They look as though they're rooting quite well. And here, just got some spring cabbage in this one, lamb's lettuce here, oloroso coming through, And then here is spring onion, I don't know if you can see that, just coming through now. And spinach also just coming through. But even in the front you can see how quickly some of these cells dry out. If I'd left them out the back, they'd have been completely baked. So I'll give those a little water. The plan is for where the onions have come out of, spinach, maybe some more spring onion, and I might sow some soy mustard in there as well, just one row. But hopefully that'll fill that bed. Really good season so far for the dwarf French beans, and as you can see, they're still cropping. This is the variety Ferrari. It's a superb bean. But I think we've picked over that now about 6 times, and we're still getting them. So absolutely superb. Equally as good, these are the Pongo, sent by Bill and Val. Once again, you can see there's tons of beans, and look at all these flowers. So, and again, we've picked over these several times. I mean, look at that. It's a class act. It really is a superb bean. Yeah, so I just have a question actually for you guys out there. This Boltardi beetroot multi-sown, it's done well. If you see between there, it's made up good, you know. I mean, it's not over big, but I'd say actually just perfect, you know, kind of tennis ball size. But I've never had this before. This foliage just completely almost gone to a crisp, and I don't really understand why, because it was watered in dry weather, and you can actually see that it's throwing out new leaves. So I think, you know, it's fine, it's not going to take any harm, but I'm just curious as to why that's happened. So if any of you guys know why, drop me a comment down below, much appreciated. The other thing we struggle a little bit with this year is courgettes. We have had quite a few, about a dozen off these 2 plants, but the mildew has been a bit of an issue. I have been spraying them with apple cider vinegar, you know, diluted with water. I read that would kind of treat it. Not sure whether there's too much truth in that, but I'll keep spraying them, and hopefully the new lot they'll either won't get it or they won't get it as bad, and anything that goes too bad I'll cut that off and go into the compost. That's it for this one, folks, so take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.